What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jeremy with Fishing Lone Star. Thank you for checking out this video. We are talking reels, specifically Lews reels, the LFS, a $100 reel compared to the Lews HyperMag, a $300 reel. That's at least what they retail for on the Lews site. The HyperMag is brand new to me. I just picked up this last week, so I just used it this weekend for the first time on the water, and I wanted to give you my candid first impression feedback of the Lews HyperMag, but also the Lews LFS, and kind of ask the question, is this reel worth 3 of these? Because that's kind of what you may be wondering is, should I get 3 of these versus 1 of these or not? So let's break down the differences in some of these. I'll at least give you a general overview. I've also got my whole lineup of Lews reels here. So I'll talk about a little bit of all of them and why I like them, or at least run through them so you know which ones I have, and you can ask questions below if you like. But let's dive in and talk about these reels. All right, first of all, I should say this video is not, I repeat, it is not sponsored by Lews. I'm not sponsored by Lews. I just happened to start using Lews reels 2 or 3 years ago and really liked them. Had multiple people, including my brother, tell me, hey, you need to try Lews reels. I started with one, which was the custom black. Bought 2 more of those, so I had 3 custom black. Bought a Super Duty, bought another Super Duty, bought 3 LFS, bought a Terminal NP, bought a KVD, and now bought the HyperMag. This is brand new to me. It's literally only been used 1 time, and I absolutely love this reel. Now, this is the most expensive reel I've ever owned. It retails for $300 on the Lews website. You can find it cheaper, but it retails for $300. I really like the LFS. It's a great $100 reel, and within the last month, I just bought another one of those as well. So here's the Lews LFS. Now, this is not the grips. These are not the grips that come with the LFS. I've upgraded those to the wind knob grips, but I have 3 Lews LFS reels, and I use them somewhat differently. But first, let me talk about why I bought the Lews HyperMag. And I'll tell you this combo. So the TFO rod, you'll see TFO, it's a 7.3 heavy rod with the Lews HyperMag. I got the 8.3-to-1 gear ratio. I will specifically be using this mainly for swim jigs. Right now I've got a paddle tail swim bait on there now. That's pretty tore up. I've caught lots of fish with it, but that's the Egg Zone Swammer. But the point I'm getting at is this rod and reel combo together is less than 10 ounces, okay? So I purchased this specifically for throwing swim jigs because I like to really work the rod. I like to pump the rod tip. I like to work the lure a lot with the swim jig, keep that skirt flaring, try to keep it in the water column as much as possible. And if you're doing that a lot, you do get kind of tired a lot throughout the day. And quite honestly, that's just a sweet looking reel, and I wanted to pick one up. So I finally did. It was kind of my Christmas gift to myself, was this reel. Now, I also told you I just recently purchased the LFS, or a 3rd one, okay? So I have the LFS. Now, what I really like about these reels is for $100, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the cheapest reel that Lews makes with an all aluminum frame, or at least aluminum frame. I can't remember if the side plates are graphite, but with an aluminum frame. I like the aluminum frame. I just think it's a sturdier overall build and structure of a reel. The LFS though has a 15-pound drag, whereas the HyperMag has a 20-pound drag, just to kind of tell you the differences. Also, the LFS has an external braking system that you have here, but there's not any other internal braking system. So you can take the side plate off, but you'll notice that there's no other brake settings inside this reel. You just have your magnetic brakes here that are adjustable from the outside. All right, so a little bit restricted on your brake settings with the LFS, but for $100 and for an all aluminum frame reel, it's a great reel. Now, what I use the LFS for is mainly for the techniques that I probably don't throw like all the time. So for example, I'm not using a top water presentation all the time. That's usually something, even when it's topwater season, not a frogging rod, but like a popper or walking bait. I'll use my LFS because I'll usually pick that up in the morning and then I'm gonna put it down until maybe later in the evening or certain times of the year. So I don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money on a reel that I'm not gonna use a ton of the time. Another great example is my deep cranking rod. I will actually use the LFS reel on my deep cranking rod because again, there's not many times throughout the year that I'm deep cranking. It's not really my personal preference, the style, what I like to do a lot of. So I will buy, and that's what I just did, I bought an LFS reel for my deep cranking rod. Now, when it comes to a couple of the presentations that I throw a lot, I really like the custom black, okay? Custom black, it comes in a combo. I have 3 of them, but I've switched out the rods for TFO rods, and I really, really like these. These are workhorses, they're very sturdy. The brake settings inside these are very similar to both the KVD reel and the Tournament MP, where you have your external brake settings, but then if I pop the side plate off, you'll see on the inside, you have your adjustable settings here too. So you have 4 different settings on the inside along with your brakes on the outside. So you can help tune in your cast a little bit more. So I would consider this a little bit more of an advanced reel, whereas the LFS is probably a little more, not necessarily beginner, but there's just not as many advanced settings with a braking system. Now, going back to the HyperMag, all right, there's 27 clicks right here on the outside with your adjustable magnetic brakes. And the braking system in the HyperMag is very similar to any other reel that's probably $200 and up, with the exception of the Super Duty. And it's bad to the bone. I'm telling you, the braking system, you can absolutely tell a difference between this and the LFS, between this and say the Tournament MP, which I love. You can tell a difference between the HyperMag. Oops, just hit the ceiling with the rod tip. That's good for the rod. But you can tell a difference between the HyperMag and the KVD. I'll show you the brakes on it in just a minute, but the KVD. Again, the KVD and the Tournament MP are probably 2 extremely similar reels. But the HyperMag is still, the braking system is that much better. And again, I repeat, the reel and the rod, the whole combo is less than 10 ounces. I mean, this thing is super, super light. And this is a heavy rod as well, meaning the heavy power. So that's kind of why I bought the HyperMag. I wanted something that was light with a light rod, considering I'm working the swim jig a lot as I'm retrieving it. I like the looks of it. And quite honestly, I wanted to kind of step up into that range of reel and see what it's all about. And I'm highly impressed. Now, is it worth it? So is it worth getting 3 of these versus 1 HyperMag? Or maybe you should get 2 Tournament MPs for the price of a HyperMag. Or maybe you could get 2 KVD reels for the price of a HyperMag. It's really just your personal preference and kind of what you're looking for. I will say the KVD, that kind of cherry red color is pretty awesome. I told you I'd show the brakes for it. You have your normal external adjustable brakes, and then very much like the custom black, you have the internal brake settings. The only thing that's different about the KVD is it actually tells you when the brakes are on and off. So that's pretty cool. I like that. So the KVD, the Tournament MP, and the custom black all have the same brakes. The LFS is a step down. The HyperMag is a step up. Super Duty is kind of in a little bit of a range of its own. It has its own brake settings. There are no internal brakes on the Super Duty. It's very similar to the LFS in that form or fashion. You'll see there's no internal brakes there, although there is more magnetic braking than the LFS. So there's just a quick rundown of the differences. Really, it's kind of your personal preference on obviously how you're going to spend your money. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that one is worth it over another. Just want to give you some of the differences between the 2 so you can kind of make that decision. If you're somewhat of a weekend angler that wants to maximize their reels and rods, meaning you want to get as many as possible just so you don't have to keep switching out, then the LFS is a great option to go to. It's a $100 reel. It's a great reel. I hadn't had any problems with all three of mine. Just keep them oiled and maintained. You'll be fine. I think they're great reels. I personally just wanted to step up and treat myself a little bit to a HyperMag, and I'm glad I did. I will be buying another one as soon as I can, because it is a sweet, sweet piece of machinery, if you want to call it that. But anyways, that's it. That's a quick rundown of all the Lews reels that I now own, the complete set of them, and the HyperMag. One more look at it because it's just such a sweet looking reel. But I am highly impressed. The braking system in this thing is pretty amazing. I had it turned down to 4 on the brake setting the very first time I went out, and I was casting a 1/4 ounce to 1 ounce lure a country mile. I mean, it cast, I mean, everyone says that the LFS is very smooth. Everyone says the Terminate MP is very smooth, and they are. The KBD is super smooth, feels like butter. Once you get a HyperMag in your hands, my goodness, you can definitely tell a difference. So I think it's worth it to spend the money, but maybe not to you. Maybe you would rather have 2 MPs or 2 KBDs or 3 LFSs for the price of a HyperMag. Up to you. And I want to preface by saying it's taken me years to accumulate these. It's not like I just went out and purchased all of them at one time. So anyways, hope this helped. Drop the comment below, whichever reel you're interested in, or the rods. I'll tell you, these TFO rods are absolutely phenomenal. I was showing you the heavy version. One I'll show you really quickly as I wrap this video is on my Tournament MP. I use this as a lipless crank, medium diving cranks, and a chatterbait rod, but this is the tactical glass bass rod. It is phenomenal. It is a fiberglass composite hybrid rod between the two. It's like a 60-40 split, and has an incredible hookup ratio for those types of lures, and is also like 4.6 ounces. Also very light. So check that out. I'll link the description to the rods below. You can check them out at Shills. Shills carries a good selection of Lews reels. They also carry the TFO rods. So check out shills.com or stop into the Shills in the Colony to check out their selection of TFO rods and Lews reels. But drop me a comment below. Let me know if you got any questions about any of the Lews reels and the lineups, particularly the LFS or the HyperMag. Be happy to answer any of your questions. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. My name is Jeremy, I'm a Fishing Lone Star. And if nobody told you today, God loves you, and so do I. Peace out.